Hello, everyone, and here we are in another episode of Port San Lucie Talks. Thanks for joining us, and we have someone that is I would say, a big deal here in Port San Lucie. We have the Vice Mayor Jolien. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I don't know if I'm a big deal, but
She is really, because a lot of the great things that are happening is thanks to her and her dedication and how passionate she is. She's lived in Port St. Lucie for over 30 years, right?
Yeah.
She has two kids here. You graduated from Indian River State?
Well, I graduated from Port St. Lucie High School and I attended Indian River State College.
Okay.
And also Southport Middle School. So my parents moved to Port St. Lucie in 1991. And so I pretty much grew up here, and now I've raised my family here.
Right.
And love it.
I know, we love it too. And I'm sure a lot of people that will watch this will love it too. So, yeah, there's a lot of great things happening. And we were talking about this earlier ourselves. Um, like the jobs corridor, for example. What can you tell us about it for the people that don't know about it?
So the jobs corridor is a very interesting story. So originally it was owned by a company in Belgium, and they decided at one point in time that they did not want to continue to incur the tax debt that was associated to the property. And they came to the city and to the city manager at the time, and they basically said, "Here, city, we're going to gift you," and I'm going to use this gift.
Yes,
We're going to gift you this amazing property, and then we would have to incur all the taxes and the SADs associated to that particular property. So the city had a very tough decision. Essentially, is either we take on this particular potential risk,
Right.
in which we had been told that it was going to take almost, they were thinking approximately 30 years
Yes.
before it would ever build out.
Right.
And we could do that or allow it to go to tax deed sale and kind of be bid at the steps of the courthouse, essentially.
Right.
And so for us, this job corridor was supposed to equate to about 22,000 jobs and $2.2 billion in economic impact.
Wow.
And so it was a very important corridor for our community, especially because, as everyone knows, Port St. Lucie is a very largely residential community.
Yes.
So we needed to have jobs here.
Exactly. Commercial stuff. Which
Correct.
we're working on. We will talk about that too, also, like all the new commercial stuff that's coming up. So
Yeah, absolutely. And so we bit the bullet. We said, okay, we're going to go ahead and move forward on accepting the property, and we did. And with the tune of about $5.5 million in potential tax payments that we were going to have to make for this property annually.
okay.
We brought in a JV partner, Mr. Richard Tamboni, and he began to work with our city manager, and he's from the private sector, and to begin to see how we can formulate a plan to sell the properties. We also got a master plan from the Urban Land Institute to develop what was going to go on the property.
Right.
So we waited and we said, well, it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
To our surprise, within 3 years, we've pretty much sold off every piece
I
of
know. I
property.
saw that. That's impressive.
Yep. And I think there's maybe less than 200 acres even available for sale today. And as I'm speaking, there's probably even less because it just continues.
Of course, every day.
Every
That's
day.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So talking about all these exciting things, let's talk about the heart of tradition and everything that's coming, like all the amazing restaurants. And what is it gonna be like? When will you think will be like kind of like finished and like ready to go?
So I don't know the exact finish date for everything, but I do know the heart is supposed to be. Hopefully, you had Joffrey here.
Yes.
Jeffrey,
He's great.
he's amazing.
I love,
and I love, and I hate this is so cliche. I love his heart.
I know.
He has an amazing heart. But yeah, he's hoping to have it ready by Valentine's.
We talked about that, and we hope so. And I feel like it's pretty great because I feel like every city or almost every like major city, a large city, has like something that people kind of like on the way stop. Like if you were from Miami and you're going to Orlando, you have a pit stop, and it'll be a reason to stop. Like what was there to stop here before having something like that? You know what I mean? So it'll bring like people stopping at a restaurant or getting to know more. Oh, what is Port St. Lucie about? And seeing how clean and how beautiful it is, and the great people, and how the hospitality. So I feel like is all positive things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what I love and admire about our city is that, we only have two cities in the United States that's what they call fully integrated
Right.
as a city, which means every race, every culture, any street in our city, you can go down any block and you're going to see someone from another place. And with that comes very diverse thoughts of what they want to see in their city.
Right.
Some people might have stopped off before because they want to go golfing or go to the beach.
Right.
Or, even there's not a beach in Port St. Lucie County has a beach. So
I mean,
why
it's
would they
everything's so
visit here?
close. All the beaches are like 20 minutes away. You can go to for piers. We've seen them all. Obi Sound we like also. It's not that far either. And they're very nice. You have the lifeguard there, so if you have kids, so there's plenty to choose.
Yeah, so when you think of the heart, that's something that might speak to someone differently than the beach or than some golf.
Right.
So
Right.
you're gonna have people wanting to come. I have a feeling we're gonna see a lot of proposals there
Yes. Oh, we talked
from
about that.
all over
Yes.
the world.
Marriage proposals for sure.
And ultimately a lot of love. It's gonna be a place. I mean, how do you not feel happy
Right.
and and just be centered with love when
Yeah.
you're looking at that beautiful heart and saying,
Right.
it's just a beautiful sculpture.
Definitely, definitely. So we were talking earlier too, and I want everybody to know. We were trying to compare what is it going to be different, the tradition area with all those shops, because we were kind of like missing like a little area for people to like walk around and have a coffee and like not have to just grab and go, compared to where Pioneer Park is in the area. That you said there's other restaurants going up there. So if you want to explain a little bit about that.
Sure. I think that, Port St. Lucie is the third largest city in the state of Florida. So we're 121 square miles. And there's always this vision of the downtown. When is Port St. Lucie going to have a downtown?
Right, exactly.
And I always tell people Port St. Lucie is actually probably going to have more than one downtown because we're so large.
Right.
And on the eastern side of the city, you have what just opened up, which is called the Port District. And the Port District is going to include, which is currently there, you have the Botanical Gardens,
So
the
pretty.
historical homes. Oh, it is.
Yes.
The historical homes, and also Pioneer Park.
It's my favorite park, honestly. It is. It was a project that was in the works for like over 2 years, correct?
Well, no, it's actually I think closer to 6, but it took about 2 years to build.
Exactly, to build.
And then you have a 5-year-old, right?
Yes, we went the day
So what did
the
she
weekend
think?
it opened. She loved it. It was. I'm not gonna lie. When we went, it was so hot. We didn't stay that long, so we need to like go back. But it's so pretty. It was packed.
Yeah, for me, it's like I want to hear what the kids are. It was great to be there
Yeah.
opening day.
Yeah.
Because all the kids were running around, and I got to ask the kids, like, "What do you think?"
Yeah.
So they're really the one I want to vote for approval on that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But then we're hoping that by next year, I believe we're going to potentially break ground on the restaurant component.
Right.
And that is going to be what they call a restaurant garden, where it's going to have smaller offerings of different types of foods and venues,
Oh, nice.
and then one large restaurant is the vision. And then also we're going to have a connection that goes from the actual port area where I'm speaking of to the other side of the port, which is where the Riverside Park, not Riverside, it's Rivergate Park.
Okay.
Rivergate Park, and as well as where the Hurricanes is currently,
Right.
and we're going to have a canoe launch, some floating docks, and some potential other activity on that side as well.
That's amazing. I mean, there's so much commercial because people that are moving. I know people are like, the main concern is like, okay, jobs. Obviously, when somebody moves from another city or state, that's what they're looking for. So there's like so many options coming. And talking about that, we'll touch the Costco that's coming. That is in the area
Yes.
where FedEx is, all the distribution. So that's this distribution area. It's gonna bring over 200 jobs.
Yes.
Which is amazing. And we love Costco. So we're very happy. A lot of people are happy about it.
Yes.
So that is going to take how long, you think?
I mean, those dates we can also make sure that you guys have and you can put in your blog later as well. The exact dates. I know that they were working through final approvals recently for certain things that they were going to need as far as parking requirements.
Right.
So I don't have a date from Costco yet when they plan on completion.
Right.
But we're very excited to have the distribution center. We are still seeking actively to work with them on a store. And so the distribution center is going to be amazing. It's going to provide well over the average salary for jobs.
Right. I saw that. Like millions, like five. No, maybe I'm wrong. It's not five. But there's a five in there.
No, I think I think it's over 250 jobs is what I thought it was originally.
Yeah, but the million in income.
Oh yeah, I don't have those numbers with me.
Okay.
There's usually a long sheet
somewhere, but it was something.
There's a lot,
but it was a lot.
No,
so
it's
great.
It's gonna be, and the importance is being above the average wage because everyone knows, right? Costs have gotten up, homes are more expensive, food is more expensive. So it's great to have an average wage of what the average wage is of the area, but really where we're at is we need above the average wage.
Right.
So Costco is going to.
There's 16 to $25. I believe that's what they're doing. So that's $25 is not, it's not a little bit.
Well, and they have great benefits.
Yeah.
So they're a really good company to have anchored in, and they're going to actually provide more jobs to the distribution center that they're going to provide in a regular store.
Right.
So we actually get more jobs than if we would have had a store.
That if you, but that's what I wanted to know. So where's the store itself? Is that still like not for sure that's gonna happen? Is it you're not supposed to tell me about it?
We are continuing in negotiations with Costco
Okay.
to hopefully obtain a store. I will say this: Costco has been an amazing partner, and I believe that they're working diligently to see it, where a store is going to potentially be in Port
Right.
Lucie. And so I know that we're working on it. We're in talks, and they're actively a partner. And so
Right.
hopefully we're able to find the right location, and we're able to make it happen.
Yeah.
And
There is a space, correct?
yes,
Okay.
I'm hoping there's a space. I can't really
Okay.
say.
Okay. There's a lot. There's a lot going on that we don't know about, and she can't tell us yet. But we'll have her come
Yeah.
again, and she will tell us
Yeah.
all the other stuff as they come.
As soon as they can announce it, someone, I'm sure if it's not me, someone will be here being excited to tell you all
Yes.
about it if
Yes.
there's something to announce.
I love that. Okay, so I had a few notes here as well that I want to ask you something more on this serious note. What are key initiatives that you'd like to ensure sustainable development while maintaining a high quality of life for residents?
So I think that, being on this board and watching the city grow and rapidly in the way that it's grown, has provided a tremendous amount of insight for the board on
Right.
sustainability and how we can even make plans better that were done prior. And so we actively work with the developers that already have entitlements, and I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah.
A lot of people think, well, Port St. Lucie, you're creating all this growth. What are you going to do about it? The reality is that this is already promised, contracted essentially growth that has been projected to come in the last 30 years, and they have entitlements. So
Yeah.
we have to move forward. But in the process of moving forward with our developers, we've worked actively to create experiences such as what you've seen happen in tradition,
Right.
where we do have those open spaces and those recreational areas and those parks. We recently broke ground on the Paseo Park with GL, and that was us working together to decide, hey, we need more baseball fields. We need some more of these amenities. And
Right.
working with the developer,
Right.
we went ahead and provided those amenities collectively.
Right.
And so I think that is really the key to sustainability with dealing with the growth that we currently have coming on board. And then we also discuss on a regular and as well have plans to work towards conservation of land and more importantly, potentially obtaining additional lots that are currently not actively going to be entitled or used for
Right.
sale to see if we can begin to preserve some of the areas of the city and maybe have small neighborhood parks or
Right.
neighborhood areas. So, we are, it's always at top of mind, trying to preserve what we can in our
Right.
city,
Of course.
but knowing that we're dealing with those upward challenges of what
Yeah.
really slated to come.
I mean, things need to be built to go with everything, with the population that's growing. Like there's a hospital coming as well.
Yes, there is one in
Yeah.
near Becker. Yes,
Exactly.
Tenant.
Exactly. So that's great. I know when we had Chief Lee also from the fire department, he said there's like other fire departments also like that are being built. There's a space already for them. So we can continue to be safe with,
Yeah.
all the growth and all the people coming from other states. So that's great that everything is being worked on. All the different departments are doing their part.
Well, sometimes, when you see something and you realize, so when we were developed originally in 1961 from general development, you see a city that wasn't well planned out at that time. And so, thankfully, when Don Cooper annexed the Western annexation, he saw a vision of, okay, we got to do that better.
Right.
So we're going to make sure that we have the schools already in place and where they're going to go, the fire department, the municipal lands that we're going to need, such as parks and public spaces. So he had that opportunity to do that foresight. And I'm sure that if we had land that we could look at today, as this council with this city manager,
Right.
we probably would even have a different vision,
Right.
learning from those eras. And so, it is well planned out. The new online development that's coming is very different
Right.
than what the rest of the city is, because of the time in the history that's passed.
Yeah.
And so, but that doesn't mean we stop. So we were going to talk about the east side.
Yeah.
And we brought up, Pioneer Park. I am the District 4 representative. And so my biggest day in, day out discussion with my team is how are we going to continue to redevelop the eastern side.
Right.
And I think what makes Port St. Lucie, on top of being special, so beautiful is that unlike other large cities around the country, there's no blight or slum in our city at all.
Oh no.
And I think part of that reason is because we continue to recognize that we have to be able to improve the areas before we have any issues where we have to address that.
Right.
And so the eastern side of the city for me is the next big move in Walton 1. It's going to be an amazing project that I'm excited for the east side of the city. Everyone wants to talk about the West.
Yes.
No one's talking about the East.
That's why I asked, but prior to starting the podcast,
Yes.
we were actually talking a little bit about it. And there's a lot of exciting things. I'm very excited for the East Side because that's what's really considered the downtown. But now we're going to have two areas with the tradition and that one. So you get to choose whatever where you live. I guess it will be more comfortable where you want to spend your afternoons. Have a little coffee, walk around. But you're gonna have water views there, so you have the river.
Yeah, well, the Port District will have the river.
Right.
Walton 1 is actually located on US 1.
Right.
And that hopefully is going to be a very attractive area for people to also want to come and see. And that goes back to the original vision of Crosstown. When you look at that beautiful Crosstown Parkway, that is what merges east to west.
Right.
And the east side, I think had its challenges because how are people going to get to the east side?
Right.
You'd have to take Port St. Lucie Boulevard and
Right.
go all the way around US 1, and it would take 40 minutes to, to get to it. Now with the connection of Crosstown that happened a few years ago.
Crosstown Parkway.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to touch, so interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
And all people are concerned about is like all these people coming and there's all this traffic. I would tell you, maybe I don't go around when it's traffic hours, but I haven't really seen traffic. You see a little bit when, some roads that are just a one-way street. So it's obvious that gets a little congested, but I don't see like huge traffic, but that's a huge concern to people here.
Yeah, and so I think it's partially because when you've lived here as long, I've lived here over 30 years, and you used to go down Port St. Lucie Boulevard and be able to go to one side and the other without even stopping.
Right.
And now, 5 o'clock rolls around.
Right.
And I live off of Floresta. You're going to have to at least wait, 2 to 3 light cycles before you can turn right on Floresta. So that's a huge change for someone like myself.
Yeah.
But if you talk to people that are newer in our community, have come from larger cities, they'll usually say exactly what you said as well, which is there is not really a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
I think what also weighs it down to is time. So when you think about our size, and I say, and it sounds like a statistic, Port St. Lucie is the third largest city in the state of Florida in land size, 121 square miles.
Right.
Let's put into perspective that if you go to Palm Beach County and you're driving and you're going through Lake Worth and then through West Palm and then you're going through PGA, and all these little areas, you're going through multiple cities. And essentially from going from one side of the city of Port St. Lucie to the other, question is how many cities have you traveled through to get to the other side of Port St. Lucie? And so regardless of whether there's traffic or not, if I drove 40 minutes somewhere within my city, I'm like, oh my God, that was so far. I do feel like
Port
driving.
St. Lucie is big though.
It
Every
is.
time I come, I'm like, we're still in Port St. Lucie? Like, we're still here.
And so even when I visit Tradition, because I'm on the east side, and it takes me 30, 35 minutes to get to Tradition from my house, I'm like, man, this is far.
Yeah, and it's not because of the traffic. It's because the distance. It's so big.
Yeah, it is. It's very
big. It is.
And then imagine now with the new Western annexation.
Yes.
So as they build out over there, and then they have, because those developers are going to create amenities on that side as well.
Yeah.
And have you been to McCarty Ranch yet?
I have not.
Take a drive out to McCarty, which is also in the city limits, which is going to begin to also have activities. Like we just had the bonfire hayride, which was packed.
Oh, we missed it. We were going, but we missed it.
It was just packed.
Yes.
So try to go to that side and see how far it takes you. It's amazing how big it is.
No, the west side is beautiful. Like the Greenpoint developers, the Wilder area, Vinlia, it's beautiful. And I know they are keeping space there for a school as well. They're building a school there.
They are.
When is that kind of?
That's up to the school board. So just so you know how it usually works is that land is dedicated.
Right.
And so essentially the school board just holds on to the land and then they decide on the timeline of when that school is ready to come online, depending on where the population is and what the expectations are.
Right.
And so like I believe they just opened up or they're not opening up. I think they're almost done with Triple D. It's a high school. And I think they're working on another one too that they're working on too as well.
So yeah, well, we have a lot of schools for all the kids that are coming, so there's space for everyone.
There is.
There's
I mean,
space.
the nice thing is that, we have a lot of single family residential development,
Mhm.
which is a positive and a negative.
Yeah,
But the positive is that I think it keeps everyone pretty spread out.
right. No,
You
for
know,
sure.
eventually you will probably see, some density because that's natural in a city.
Hmm.
But I don't see us ever being like, other larger cities where it's all apartment buildings and,
Oh yeah, no,
25.
you guys are doing a good job in keeping things that just it's not gonna be like cluttered that you don't can't see any past one building or like
Right.
like the views and all that stuff. Amazing. Well, I'm very excited for all these new things. There's another thing, the initiative of common grounds, which means people over politics.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So that was during my presidency of the Florida League of Cities. And for me, I mean, and this is in the middle of an election that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's I think our job as elected leaders is to find people and bring them together
Right.
and to unify our public. Elections happen. We select individuals, but the reality is that after that's over, we as a community have to come together to actually do the work and the hard work of building a great city.
Right.
And that requires help from our state leaders
Hmm.
and our federal leaders. And so the actual message, which is universal,
Right.
stemmed from our challenges with working with the state legislator and preserving our rights as local elected leaders to be able to serve you here locally.
Right.
And, my message of common grounds was really having that conversation. Number one, understanding that every elected leader goes through the same challenges.
Right.
We are all trying to work on difficulties with our community. We're all trying to address needs of our citizens.
Right.
So we have the common place to come from, except we just might have different opinions on how to get there.
Hmm.
So instead of fighting and attacking each other or calling each other out and saying you're doing a horrible job,
Yeah.
let's have a discussion
Right.
of how do we bridge that gap and what can we find commonality on,
Right.
and then maybe there'll be a bridge to understanding to come to a solution
Hmm.
and some give and take. And so, that's what that presidential year was about.
Hmm.
I was blessed and honored to have all 411 cities and their members support that mission.
That's great.
I still when I go to conferences, because I'm not the president anymore. Even the current president still wears my pin.
Oh, really? Oh,
And he walks around
that's nice.
and he wears the pin of common grounds. And it's a message that I just don't carry in that particular arena.
Mhm.
But I think too, I believe that and it's not, again, it's not my message, but I also believe that our board and our city council believes in that as well.
Right.
And that's why I believe we get along so well. We work so well together,
Yeah.
and we continue the mission of the community because we realize we have a lot that we can do together.
Right.
And that conflict that can occur sometimes in politics isn't necessarily conducive to helping the
Right.
city of
Right. Right.
progressing. But
Mhm.
when we have to stand up for things, we do.
Yeah. I love that. That everybody works together. Dana Trabolsi, she's
amazing.
amazing too, and she does a lot. And we talked a little bit about that as well, and with the mayor, with Shannon, about how everybody, like you were just saying, like everybody leaves all the politics aside and just come together to what needs to be done. And you guys do a great job. So
Well, and with the message of common grounds, Dana's a perfect example. Representative Trabolsi was kind of my cohort in that,
Mhm.
where on the state side,
Mhm.
she supported my message, and more importantly, she would work with me intimately, as well as Representative Overdorf and Harrell and Grawl, to help us accomplish things together,
Right.
especially for our local community.
Right.
And I gave them all the credit in the world, because to me, um, it takes two to make these things work.
Right.
And
No,
so,
for sure, for sure.
and I
I mean,
appreciate them.
the more power,
Well, and they bring back a lot of appropriations. They fight
Yeah.
for our community,
Right.
and to make sure that we have funding available to get the projects done that we need. It's
We've
just
done a lot of grants lately too,
We do.
correct?
Yeah,
So to fund a lot of the things that are happening,
yeah.
and yeah, we talked a little bit about it too with Shannon, and like how you need to present the project needs to be pretty much ready to go the next day to get all the funds, but you guys are getting things done and getting the money to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that we have an amazing grant team. We have Kate Parmalee and her amazing team, and also our lobbyists that work for us, and they do a really, really good job on
Yeah.
getting all that funding. And we have to try to get it. At the end of the day, we have to try to get that funding to be able to deal with
Right.
with the needs of the community. We have a lot of needs. Everything's happening is great,
Right.
but you know we have some major needs. We have a stormwater plan that we have to fulfill and
Yes.
maintain, and that's a very expensive plan. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
I'm sure.
It's the millions and millions of dollars
Yeah.
of maintenance that needs to be done. And we have Port St. Lucie Boulevard that everyone knows that we're working on right now,
Right. Yeah.
and other projects that
Right.
we have to be able to hopefully have funding to complete
Right.
and hopefully accelerate.
Right.
That's the goal, is to get it even done faster.
Yeah, for sure. So, talking about what just happened, Milton, prayers to the families that lost their loved ones down in Fort Pierce,
It's horrible.
Spanish Lakes. Did you how is it over there now?
So I recently, I'm on the board on Graceway Village.
Mm-hmm.
And Graceway is an amazing, amazing organization that helps our community.
Right.
And I was volunteering out there, and it's tough,
Right.
to see that type of destruction. As an elected leader, you work so hard to build the city, to build the community,
Right.
and to see that Mother Nature can come in and disrupt.
And not expected because the hurricane itself didn't do really any damage. It was very scary this time with all the tornadoes.
The tornadoes, yeah.
Not expected. People were really caught off guard.
My whole life, I actually went back because I was interested to see if we ever had that happen before.
Right.
And I did. I went back and looked at the history. Florida has experienced tornadoes like that. It was in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, it hasn't been.
It hasn't been.
Yeah.
And I've never in my lifetime seen anything like that in my life. And, getting to talk to some of the residents out there, they're strong.
Yeah.
It's amazing how resilient they are, and how grateful they are just to see a face, to just have someone to talk to.
Right.
I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to pray with individuals, to come alongside people, to help them where we can. And I think our county is strong. I know our elected leaders in the county are strong, and as a community, we're gonna work together. We're gonna make sure that they recover.
Right.
We come out of it stronger.
Amazing. And you guys are doing a good job. I know Ron DeSantis was here recently also, with the sheriff out there trying to help people.
We have amazing state partners, state leaders.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but the reality is Florida goes through this a lot.
Yeah.
And so we have great planning.
Yeah.
And when needed, they get activated. And for sure, that's an amazing job our state does.
Yeah.
And so
I
we
agree.
appreciate the governor.
We're very happy to be in Florida.
Absolutely.
Sure. So talking about something positive about Fort Pierce area, so the Treasure Coast International Airport. Very excited about that. What's coming?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's coming because I'm not there, but I can say I did have a commissioner take me out on the tour and update me on the potential of what's coming. And I think it will be fantastic. I tried to get the airline information out because I keep hearing this airline might be coming in.
I know from
New York.
That's what I was going to ask you, because a lot of the people we have coming here and the snowbirds even getting, second homes to be here during the winter. They're coming from New York and New Jersey mainly. So a lot of people were like, okay, am I going to be able to fly directly there? So then I can go back to see my family and the back and forth. So
they wouldn't leak any information to me. I tried.
I cannot believe they didn't tell you anything.
I did. I said, I was with the commissioner and I'm there, even with the staff in the airport. I'm like, so, you could tell me a little secret.
I believe it's called, maybe it's not this, but I believe something like Avalon. I believe it's called the airline, and it's mainly a New York airline. And that's the one that I heard that was on the works as of now.
You might have more information than me then.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll see. Well, we're gonna find out and we'll let everybody know as soon as we have more info, but that's what we know as of now. But
have you had a chance to get a commissioner on here yet?
Not yet.
There's some great ones up there. I highly recommend, asking one of them to come and talk.
Yes, for sure. On that, but I know people are very excited about it. I mean, we had usually I fly out of Palm Beach when I go somewhere, which is not that far, but I mean, having it right here, come on.
Well, I think, and I don't want to say this wrong, but I want to say that they told me when I toured it that our airport space is larger than Palm Beach.
Well, so even we're gonna have them very, yes, it's a big deal.
I mean, we have a lot of space to actually create a significant size airport if it can come to fruition. Absolutely.
Right. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
And they said it'll start actually next summer. it'll start the flights.
See, look at you. You know more than I do. I'm jealous. I'm like, I tried to get anything out of them and they wouldn't let me.
Well, there you go. Now you know a little bit more, and I'm gonna keep digging to see what we can, and we'll put another video out there for people with more information. But I love that. That's super exciting, especially for all the people from out of state. You know, they're gonna want an airport that's right here.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. So, all right. Um, what pivotal strategies have helped maintain Port St. Lucie's status as one of Florida's safest and largest cities?
So I always think it's to do something as incredible as that. It's multiple things.
Right.
Well, obviously, we have, in my opinion, the most amazing police department in the entire
I
state.
I agree. I agree. I would say it myself.
I mean, the men and women of the city of Port St. Lucie that wear that uniform every day
Yeah.
do a fantastic and outstanding job. They are
Mhm.
invested.
Right.
They love the city and they do everything they can to protect it. But I also credit the citizens and their activism.
Mhm.
There's only over 200 sworn officers in the city of Port St. Lucie, and so when you think about the size of how many people we have versus how many officers we have,
Right.
if it's not our citizens being active in their community, seeing something, saying something,
Right.
calling,
People are very active here.
they are
Very active.
if you're not helping in the community and making sure that we're being aware and that your police department's aware of these things, or putting a
Right.
community group together, or doing the things that you do to keep us safe, then we're defeated just by numbers at that point.
Right.
So it definitely is a collaborative approach. And I think when you're coming into the city of Port St. Lucie, my only ask is, please, please, please be involved.
Right.
And please be one of those partners that
Right.
is helping us stay safe, helping us stay
Right.
clean, helping us stay beautiful, because
Right.
we have to do it together.
Right. So how can people get more involved, let's say?
Well,
Like, are there like specific programs?
Oh, there's so many ways to
There's
get
so many.
involved. I mean, there's obviously so many opportunities to volunteer in the city of Port
Right.
St. Lucie. And then also we have what's called City University, which I told you a little bit
Yes, I am
about.
definitely gonna check that out. That sounds really interesting. If you want to explain to everyone what it's about.
So City University is a program. It's approximately, I think they just upped it to 9 weeks, and you're going to have the opportunity to come in once a week and to hear from all of the leaders in the city and ask all your burning questions and learn, everything from finance to the Mid Florida Event Center, going to the police department. It's a great opportunity to
Right.
get to know the community and exactly what your city does, and to be able to have those great conversations with the individuals that run all this day in
Right.
day out. And then you become what we call our honorary ambassadors when you're completed with the program. You get a certificate. We also feed you, so because it's usually
Nice.
dinner time. And it's just a really great opportunity to get to learn what your city does. And in fact, we just had a strategic planning session yesterday, and in our discussions of getting involvement, we've had so many of these classes that we're thinking about even calling back some of our former city university participants
Right.
to be part of some other workshops and stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then we have board opportunities. So the city has several boards like planning and zoning, contractor licensing board. If you're interested in serving on one of our boards, you can put an application for that. There's just a ton of opportunities.
Right.
If you have questions and would like to learn more, you can contact the city council office. And we'll be more than glad to point you in the right direction of whatever you're interested in helping in.
That's amazing. All right. One of the looking ahead 5 to 10 years, what are the top priorities for Port St. Lucie, particularly regarding infrastructure, transportation, and housing?
So the next 5 to 10 years is, as far as how the housing is going to be structured, it most likely is usually mapped out already because of the entitlements. I think that for us, for the infrastructure, is trying to get the infrastructure online
Right.
as quickly as possible. So continuing the discussions with our developers and actively working on what we've been doing the last few years is how do we accelerate these roads? How do we accelerate these projects? How do we maybe shift some stuff that
Right.
might be a different priority?
Mhm.
We're actively seeking a connection for, I think it's 95 for Marshall. We're looking at different ways
Right.
on how we can connect individuals. Building out the infrastructure grid on the western side is
Right.
a key priority for the
Mhm.
city. And then making sure that we're bringing parks online, but also providing experiences that individuals might want to see that's different. Not everyone wants to go to a playground or play on the field.
Right.
So with recreational spaces, how do we adapt that to
Mhm.
what the needs are in the current community and
Yeah.
what they would like to do with that space? I think trying to, with dealing with the large growth in population, trying to keep a pulse on what the community aspects are of the importance of, how we can serve them better.
Right.
These are things that I lose sleep on at night, to be quite honest.
I was gonna tell you, what keeps you awake at night? What's like the things that are really like the most challenging right now that you guys are facing?
I think, if I'm being honest, we have an amazing team. So the structure is there. And obviously, you can only control what you can control. There's things that you can't control.
Right.
Those are the things that keep me up at night. So watching what we just went through with Milton, seeing those tornadoes come through. I mean, for me, that is my biggest fear.
Right. The aftermath of
the biggest fear is, yes, you can be ready for it. Yes, you can prepare for it. Yes, you can respond to it. But seeing people in that situation, that's to me is the hardest thing. Loss of life,
right.
And anybody in our community is a hard thing.
Right.
And so those are the things that keeps me up at night. Making sure that we stay safe,
right,
keeps me up at night. Making sure that we stay clean. We did a survey to see why people come to Port St. Lucie. It is the safety, it is the beauty. Making sure. I used to think that, you see litter campaigns and some individuals, just see it as something like, some other ad.
yeah,
I have become a very active person when it comes to looking at for litter and making sure that our city stays beautiful.
right.
Um,
It is. It is. It's clean everywhere. So if you come from somewhere else, you would see there's not many cities that you will go through every area and being so large that you see anything on the ground. Like,
and and you think about, so when you think about the city you want to be in and you want to live in, sometimes people say, well, don't worry about the tree, don't worry about this, let's worry about the road. We are worrying about the road.
yes,
But if you don't worry about the trees and the beautification and the safety aspect of those things,
right,
there'll be a deteriorate. As soon as the road opens, it'll be beautiful.
right.
But there'll be a deterioration of the community at that point in time. And then things happen when that happens. One thing I told my staff yesterday was, like, if we allow litter to get out of control, then people will begin to lose more respect over, let's say, a particular corner, because they're like, well, that corner always looks like that.
Right, of course. It just escalates from there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so the importance of us staying together as a team, and I mean, when I say stay together as a team, it's the entire community, making sure that if this is Port St. Lucie, you came here, you love this, we all have to be a part of keeping it
the same.
keeping it what it is.
Or better.
Or hopefully for me, it's always better.
Always getting it better.
It's always better. Like, how do we build a city that has the amenities that everyone is seeking and still maintain what we've got today?
Right.
Like, if people do want more entertainment and more things to do,
Yeah.
if there's anything negative that comes from that, how do we combat that and still be able to offer that?
Right.
Even with the heart, the heart's beautiful, but then you have residents, rightfully so, that are concerned. People are coming from a different area.
Oh, right.
How are they, are they going to come into the city with, it's like, I think that it starts with us. It really does.
100%. I agree.
Starts with us.
Okay. Well, there's a great team. I mean, Port St. Lucie is beautiful. We're gonna keep it beautiful, right?
Absolutely. Safe, clean, and beautiful.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you so much. Honestly, I appreciate you coming and sharing everything that's happening. This is great information for things that maybe some people knew about, some things they didn't. So, and we know you're very passionate and dedicated. So we really appreciate all the great work that you do for Port St. Lucie. So
I appreciate the time very much. And, I always close one of these opportunities to let individuals know that if you ever have any questions, I'm very accessible. The entire city council and the mayor is very accessible. Don't hesitate to reach out to our offices, schedule an appointment, give us a call.
exactly.
And I'll be willing to answer any question that you might have. Thank you so much.
There you have it. Thank you, Jolien. And we will see you on the next episode of Port St. Lucie Talks.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.